Now, the reason why we struggle with this concept of foreknowledge is because we are brainwashed with 2 4-letter words. Free will. There is no such thing. I would go so far as to say it's a demonic deception. Our will is not free. And see, because we're in a Western democracy and we like to vote, we're like, well, everybody should vote. My question is, how's that going? I'd be fine if only Jesus got to vote from here on out. That would be totally fine with me. Let me give you just sort of 5 perspectives on this myth of free will. Number 1, we are responsible for the choices we make. We do make choices, and we are responsible for them. Number 2, our choices reflect our heart or nature. Jesus says out of the overflow of the heart comes lust, or words, or spending. That the decisions we make are a reflection of the heart or nature that we have. That's where he says a good tree bears good fruit, bad tree bears bad fruit. Ezekiel says that before the Holy Spirit enters, we have a heart of stone, and it is God, not us, who takes out this heart of stone and replaces it with a heart of flesh. And so ultimately, until you get a new nature, you cannot make God-glorifying decisions. And some people say, well, I chose Jesus. Your old nature won't choose Jesus. Number 3, Adam and Eve alone had free will. They didn't have a sin nature, and they had a perfect relationship with God, and they're in a perfect environment, things that we don't have. We're not perfect people in a perfect place in a perfect relationship. God is perfect, but everything else, because of us, is not. Adam and Eve were free because they didn't have a sin nature to choose God or not choose God. We, however, have inherited a sin nature. He articulated this in Romans 5:12 through 21. As a result, our will is not free. It's bound by sin and nature. Number 4, our choices are limited by God. You're not free. You're not free to determine the day of your birth. You're not free to cure your sickness. You're not free to ultimately rule over your life, and you're not free to decide whether you go to heaven or hell. Your choices are within a menu of options that are limited by the sovereign God. You're not sovereign. He is. And he gives us a limited menu of options. So I can't choose to be tall. Now I've tried. I've tried to predestine myself to height and bangs. You're laughing because I've proven my inability to predestine my height and bangs. My will is not totally free. It's limited and bound by the choices that God makes available to me. Number 5, when we do choose, we choose sin and death. He already told us in Romans 1. We get the truth, we suppress the truth. He tells us that we have futile thinking, that we are fools, and we have a debased mind. What he's saying is, apart from a miracle of the Holy Spirit, you don't know God and you can't know God. That's exactly what he's saying. Your will is not free. And I have people all the time ask me, well, what part do you play in your salvation? Oh, I played a part. I did the sinning. That was my contribution. He did the saving. See how this works? I did my part. I did the sinning. He did his part. He did the saving. This is a great historical debate. In 1524, Erasmus of Rotterdam, a humanist scholar, he wrote a book called The Freedom of the Will. The next year, Martin Luther, one of my favorites, a Protestant Bible teacher, wrote another book called The Bondage of the Will. I read that as a freshman or sophomore in college. And in there, Luther's working through Romans to show that we don't have free will. Let me say this. This will blow your mind. Only God has free will. God has all knowledge, we don't. God has all power, we don't. God can do anything he wants, we can't. And no one can thwart the will of God. So when it comes to salvation, someone did make a free will choice, and it was God, not you or me.